Hi and welcome to JRR, a podcast about the arcade machine I'm making and the games that I'm writing to go on it. In this episode, we're going to have a quick look at some... That's the tell me to hurry up. We're going to have a quick look at some code, and then we're going to look at the plan I've made for the game engine going forward, which it's going to be a quick episode, but I didn't really do much over the last week. I did remove the reliance on the mouse, which was pretty simple. Let's have a look at that first of all. In the game engine.cpp file, all I had to do there was set the mouse cursor visible to false. Nothing at all hard about that. Over from that, I went to the select input handler and the game over input handler. I had to put away for the player 1 button into the code so that when it was hit, it goes through a keyboard. The button goes through a keyboard emulator, and from there we just have to tell which button is being hit and then what the button does. So here, my player 1 button actually hits the enter button on the keyboard emulator, and once that's hit, it will load level in play mode level 1. In fact, when I highlight that, let's hide that camera for a second. When I highlight this, you'll see it highlights it down here as well. So that used to be the left click on the play button, but we're not using them anymore. I've left them in there in case I want to put like a default mode in there for debugging, and I want to put not default mode. I want to put a debug mode in there where I do want to use the mouse, but there's still a little bit of work to do on that. Select input handler was exactly the same. Instead of going to level 1 with the left click on the mouse button, we now just use the enter key. Pretty simple. Game over input panel. The game over input panel used to have 2 buttons that were play and home. Now, even though the buttons are still here with this function, game over UI panel, initialize buttons, we've commented the initialize buttons out, so they won't display on the screen at all. Select UI panel, same deal. We're not initializing the buttons there. I did want to put some player feedback in, so I wanted to put in there press player 1 start button, but I can't just go putting text in there willy-nilly. I've got to do a little more. I've got to put like some text panels. I've got to add that ability in there, and while I'm at it, I've got to add some graphics panels. You need that player feedback. Every game from the earliest arcade games right through to Call of Duty have player feedback or player instructions that tell them what button to press to proceed further in the game. And this should be no different. That's all the code I did. It wasn't much, and you might see now that we've got the game engine, you might be getting the feel that it's actually not too hard to change things and to add things. It is pretty simple. I'm moving slow because I've got to make the videos as well, and I'm studying, so it's sucking a bit of time out of me. Let's go have a look at the plan for the future here. This is pretty cool. Well, I've put all of these little sprints here. They don't have to be done in order, and I've put a GE on the corner of everything that's related to the game engine, and everything else is related to the game itself. So the game itself stuff we won't be using in the next game that we make, but the game engine stuff, we will isolate that code and we'll use that as a starting point for the game that we're going to make in future. The remove cursor and add input for buttons have been completed. We just ran through that code. Add feedback for user. I've put a block on that. I've got to do a little more work. I need to make the text box template first, part of the game engine, and the add image box template before I can do that. The add credits and coin input simulation, we'll use that on this game and every other game that we load onto the arcade machine, because you need to add credits to play a game. Keep track of high scores. That's really important. I think you want to have some bragging rights. Different type of invaders, that's game specific. We can do that at any part here, add the bunkers, destroy the bunkers, that's awaiting research. Add the animation component, that is so that the invaders, the Frogger, the cars, whatever we build can be animated as well. We'll animate the invaders to prove that that works, and there's the templates. So there's, I guess, a bit of a lie there. It does matter what order we do them in. We can't animate the invaders without creating the animation component. Well, we can, but we have to redo some work. Let's get at that as far as that explanation goes. The long-term plan then is going to clean up the game engine code. We'll deploy it to GitHub so other people can use it, and we'll begin a new game from scratch. So if you do want to create a game and follow along as I make another game, I'm planning on making one of my favourite games, which is Joust. Now that game, if you're not familiar with it, is you're a knight, you're on an ostrich, and you're cruising along the screen, these other knights on ostriches, and you just joust. It's pretty groovy. One of my favourite games, and I'm looking forward to making it. I'll leave it at that because it's been a long day and I've recorded this twice because the first time I recorded, I had the microphone on mute. So happy gaming and catch you at the next episode.